Once upon a time, in a valley surrounded by green hills, filled with colorful flowers, and awakened every day by the sunrise and the chirping of birds, there was a village. On the outskirts of the village, near a beautiful lake surrounded by forests, lived a shepherd named Ismail. Everyone called him Ismail the shepherd. Ismail made his living by tending to his sheep. He loved them dearly and had a special bond with each one. To him, they were not just animals, but each sheep had its own personality, its own story, and its own place in his heart. His favorite sheep was a white, soft, and fluffy one with eyes as bright as diamonds. Its name was Carabash. Carabash was the most intelligent and energetic of all the sheep. Every morning, while Ismail led the sheep to graze, Carabash was always by his side. Together, they would walk to the lake, lay down on the soft green grass, and watch the nature around them. The two were seen by the villagers as an example of an extraordinary friendship. Everyone could feel the special bond between the shepherd and the sheep. One day, as Ismail and Carabash were walking by the lake, they spotted a group of swans swimming gracefully on the water. The swans were gliding effortlessly, their wings spread wide. Carabash, watching them, suddenly lifted his head and barked as if he wanted to say something to Ismail. "What's the matter, Carabash?" Ismail asked. Carabash tilted his head slightly, gazed at the swans for a while, and remained silent. Ismail immediately understood what his sheep meant. Carabash, as always, wanted to explore something new, to go on a new adventure. "Do you see, Carabash?" Ismail said. "We too can glide on this lake just like those swans. But first, we must be patient and wait for the right time." What Ismail said inspired Carabash. From that day on, Ismail and Carabash went to the lake every day, spending time together, talking, and sometimes sitting in silence to enjoy the peace and beauty of nature. Carabash grew older and wiser, and Ismail continued to teach him the secrets of nature and life. One morning, a great storm swept through the forest near the village. Fierce winds knocked down trees, and heavy rain covered the sky, flooding the village roads with mud. Ismail hurried to the barn to bring his sheep in and keep them safe for the night. Carabash, without hesitation, stayed by Ismail's side. The storm raged for several days. Everyone stayed inside, too afraid to go out. But one morning, when the storm finally passed, the villagers stepped outside in astonishment. Everything had been destroyed. Trees had fallen, roads were blocked, and many houses had lost their roofs. But Ismail, eager to check on his sheep and Carabash, went straight to the barn. Ismail and Carabash led the sheep out to the meadow and walked toward the lake. The storm's effects were everywhere, but everything was beginning to come back to life. The lake had become clear again, and flowers along the shore had started to bloom. Ismail looked at Carabash and said, "Look, Carabash, every storm is followed by a bright morning. Nature has its own cycle. No matter how hard it is, everything will be reborn." That day, Ismail and Carabash spent hours walking along the lake. Ismail shared more of nature's wisdom with Carabash, while the villagers started to repair the damages. People helped each other to replant trees and fix houses. Ismail never left his sheep during these days, and Carabash was always there by his side. They shared every moment, deepening their bond. As the days passed, the village began to recover. Ismail, Carabash, and the sheep continued to visit the lake every day. The villagers would greet them, and they saw the shepherd's philosophy of friendship as an example. The bond between the villagers became stronger, and they learned to work together in love and respect. The friendship between the shepherd and the sheep became a symbol for the entire village. One morning, as Ismail and Carabash walked by the lake again, Carabash raised his head and gazed at the swans gliding on the water. Ismail watched him and said, "Look, Carabash, nature connects us all. The lake, the swans, the flowers, the animals, and humans, we are all one. If we support each other, we can overcome any challenge." From that day on, the villagers not only respected nature, but also grew closer to one another. Inspired by the bond between the shepherd and his sheep, they strengthened their own relationships. And Ismail and Carabash continued to enjoy their peaceful days by the lake, with their friendship growing deeper each day.